Hello folks, welcome to IAS Academy. In this video, we will be discussing a current affair compilation for international relations for the month of August 2024. Now this course is curated specifically from your prelims perspective. So if you are appearing for your prelims 2025, then this is for you. So whatever content that we will be discussing, we will make sure that we will be discussing it from a prelims perspective, and also we will see some of the topics in the form of your MCQs. So it will be directly helpful from what is necessary from the topic and what kind of possible questions will come from your MCQs topics, which we will be seeing in form of questions. Okay, let's get started. This video is presented to you by your faculty. So in this video, we will be going through India and Global South, Global Development Compact, 10 years of India's Act East Asia policy, India-Vietnam relations, India-Malaysia relations, India's Central and Eastern Europe relations, India-Poland relation, India-Ukraine, para-diplomacy, and South China Sea issue. Alright, let's get the video started. Before we start the video, there is a small announcement from the Legacy IAS Academy, wherein they have started that is a new batch is open from your April 17th, 2025 onwards. One specific thing about your Legacy IAS Academy is the batch size is limited to 40 members, so that there will be individual attention given to everyone. Another specialty of your Legacy IAS is you do not have to worry from which background you are, maybe from science, maybe from arts, but one main thing is it covers both foundational course as well as advanced course, meaning what? It covers even your NCERT classes, 6th, 7th, 8th NCERTs are for those children who is reading 6th, 7th standards. We do not want you to read 6th, 7th standard to write a 6th, 7th exam. What from that topic is necessary for you for UPSC level is what will be taught, how to read an NCERT, what to read, and then we will advance it with your advanced classes alongside your prelims preparation, mains preparation, and interview preparation, wherein everything will be holistic. Prelims you have mock tests, mains you have mains answer writing, interview you have mock panel interviews. Understanding? If you have to get an idea about the classes, you can go visit Legacy IAS Academy website. Otherwise, we also have a mobile application where you can view instant demo classes. At the same point of time, if for any further more batches or your batch inquiry or any inquiries regarding admissions, do contact the number given below, whichever Legacy IAS website owns. Alright, now let's get the topic started. For like this is a completely prelims oriented video. For those of you who are attempting prelims in 2025, Legacy IAS Academy has come up with free all India prelims mock test. Do take advantage of this and check this out. Right? Now the first topic is India and Global South. First and foremost, when we say Global South, there are a few things you have to understand. The word Global South does not have anything to do with the geography. It does not mean Northern Hemisphere, Southern Hemisphere states. It just means in your economic levels. Meaning what? Least developed countries, developing countries, these kind of countries fall under your Global South. Let's say quite contrary to this is your Global North, your well-established developed economies. Global South in general, if you see, it looks like all the southern or the bottom countries are all called the Global South, but that doesn't mean Australia is included in that. I'm mentioning Australia as example just to make sure you understand that not all South countries means Global South. Understanding? And India has hosted the third Voice of Global Summit in virtual medium. India has also hosted two other virtual summits. Again, the Voice of Global South. This is the third one, and all three of them have been hosted in a virtual format only. India is now trying to play as the leader of your global south. When I say the leader of global south, it just wants to become the voice of global south. Have a better negotiation in your international podiums. For example, your UNSC, your UN assemblies, where majority chunk and shareholdership is all held by your developed nations only. There is very much less representation of your African and Latin American countries. So to bridge this gap, now we cannot keep relying on your old institutions itself. Like for example, your WTO has huge amount of issues, your WHO has huge amount of issues, your climate deals is not getting through because of fear, horse-headed and your high-headed developed countries swapping out of it. And in this manner, even your climate change deals are not being able to be visualized completely. Whereas the developing countries are trying to do it, but then again they have other set of issues that they have. For example, debts. Your climate change, if anything affects the most, it will be your developing, and these developing economies will be affected most by your climate change. Whereas the developed economies are even going ahead. For example, US President Donald Trump has even claimed that the climate change is a hoax. There is no such thing called as climate change. So, this kind of issues are becoming a troublesome and worrisome matter for your developing and these developed nations, where they have to implement your climate change activities, initiatives also, but at the same point of time, they are burdened with high stake loans, interest payments, debts. So, when they are already burdened by all these things and yet they have to pay for the mistake that they never did, they were not the drivers of your industrial revolution. The developed nations were, but they are not ready to take charge. So amidst all of this, your India as a voice of global south has been coming up and speaking in international podiums and wherever places possible that the country should consider reducing the interest payments for these global south countries or find other alternate sources of payments. So all these issues were discussed in your voice of global south. Look at this. Whatever these countries are below, leaving Australia, all these falls in your global south category. Understanding? Voice of Global South Summit. The basic concept of what is this Voice of Global Summit means. It is more on your India's profound theory of what it follows for your international relations also. That is Vasudev Kutumbakam, India's philosophy of the world is my home. Whereas we have to loosely translate it to your international podium, one earth, one family, one future. Okay. Now this was the third summit. We tried to make the representation as much as possible. So 123 countries participated, whereas China and Pakistan were not invited. The theme of your Voice of Global South Summit, now know these kind of things because this might be useful for your statement kind of questions. Empowered Global South for a sustainable future. Okay, so they are wanting for a human-centric global development compact. We will discuss further on what is the global development compact. As of now, just know that this terminology is associated with your Voice of Global South. So, if you see according to your UNCTAD report, the debt of developing countries is rising as the rate of twice of that of your developed nations. WMO state of climate in the Southwest Pacific reports that Pacific islands are at higher risk. See, your developed countries have an option to wash their hands and tell climate change is hoax, we are not going to believe in that. But climate change is real and its imminent threat is felt by your island countries, your Pacific island countries, your global south. Now these countries have to pay the additional charges for the mistakes that they never caused, and at the same point of time they have to make sure that they do not fall under this, so they have to pay for climate change as well as pay for your debts. So this is where the countries are facing huge amount of difficulties, and now they are trying to have a sustainable negotiation with your development. So more of your voice of global south is for a peaceful negotiation, trying to make the global north understand the problems of your global south. Few things if you have to know from a previous perspective, that is Global South Young Diplomat Forum. This is for your education and capacity building. Okay. And mission of Arogya Maitri, One World, One Health. This is for more of your health security, and we have also started Janaushadhi Kendras. For example, we saw that Janaushadhi Kendra was started in Mauritius. We will go through the topics, that is learn more about the topic by looking through some of the prelims questions. India is often regarded as the voice of global south. Which of the following are the key principles that India advocates for in its engagement with global south? Equitable development, sustainable development, non-interference in domestic affairs, promotion of free trade and market-driven economies. Mainly here in the voice of global south, they are trying to go for equitable development, sustainable development and non-interference in domestic matters. Correct answer is A, 1, 2, 3. Which of the following initiatives were taken by India to promote South-South cooperation? That is among the global south members itself. India-Africa Forum Summit. IPSA, that is your India, Brazil, South Africa. BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. G20. See your IAS, IPSA, your BRICS, all of them are a different grouping compared to your G20. G20 has nothing to do with something about South-South cooperation. It is more on generalistic terms about your developing economies, and they also have other issues to discuss, not specific to South-South. So South, that is your G20 will not come into the list. The concept of global south primarily refers to the nations located in the southern hemisphere, economically less developed and developing countries, countries that share common historical experiences of colonialism and imperialism, developed nations with a focus on climate change. See, southern hemisphere, no, that is why I mentioned Australia. So it is 2 and 3 only. It is not developed nations, it is least developed and developing nations. Which of the following statements is correct regarding India's role in the global south? India is an active advocate for the cause of debt relief for developing countries in international forums. India has focused its South-South cooperation largely on trade and business partnerships. India's development cooperation model emphasizes financial aid and grants over technical assistance and knowledge sharing. India has provided humanitarian assistance to several countries in the global south, especially in the wake of natural disasters. See, first statement is correct. Second statement is wrong. Efforts largely based on trade and business partnerships, no. Third, India's development cooperation is emphasized on financial aid and grants or technical assistance and knowledge sharing is wrong. Again, in fact, this is ulta. Understand? India has provided humanitarian assistance, that is correct. So the correct answer is 1 and 4. A is the correct answer. Which of the following countries are considered as a part of global south? Brazil, Germany, South Africa, Japan. Germany is a global north, it will not come in. Japan also will not come into this ambit. So correct answer is Brazil and South Africa. Correct answer is 1 and 3 only. So A is the answer. Which of the following is true about India's relationship with the African continent as part of its South-South cooperation? India has offered concessional lines of credit to African countries for infrastructure projects. India is the largest donor to African countries in terms of foreign aid. India's partnership with Africa emphasizes trade, education and technological transfer. India plays a minimal role in African Union's peace and security initiatives. Now look at this. India plays a minimal role in African Union's peace and security initiatives. India may not play a maximum role, but it definitely doesn't play a minimal role. So wherever 4 is there, the option is wrong. You can eliminate it this way. B2 and 4 are wrong, B1, 3, 4 are wrong. Your options are between A, 1, 2, 3 or C, 1 and 3. From this, if you know 1 and 3 is correct, India has offered concessional lines of credit to African countries. Yes. Third one, India partners with Africa on trade, education, technology, correct. Second, India is the largest donor to African countries in terms of foreign aid. No, that is not correct. So the correct answer is 1 and 3 only, which is C. The next topic we'll be discussing is a global development compact. Like the previous topic we've been discussing, the debt has been rising twofold for your developing economies compared to the developed economies, and alongside this they have to contribute for your climate change also. This is becoming and mounting as a burden for your global south, for which they want, that is the global south wants the global north to consider alternate sources of payment, alternate sources or alternate methods of repaying the loans. Okay, so they just want a holistic ground to be considered. Look at this. Comprehensive and human-centric global development compact. Trade for development, they have brought out this global development compact on 4 key areas: trade for development, capacity building for sustainable growth, technologies sharing, and project-specific concessional finance and grants. And to make sure that the global south countries not be burdened with the debts. Okay, look at this. Have a look at this, how it is for Africa, Asia, Latin American countries. Okay. So they are asking more of a possibility for restructuring the loans. They have been, the developing countries or your global south countries have been spending more on interest payments compared to your climate change initiatives. Let's look at some of the possible questions and learn from this. Which of the following is the primary objective of Global Development Compact? To achieve sustainable development in the global south by providing financial aid and technology transfer, promote multilateral trade agreements and free market economies globally, strengthen global cooperation in addressing global challenges such as climate change, inequality and poverty, to enforce global peace and security through military intervention. See, first option, achieve sustainable development in global south by providing financial aid and technology transfer. They are not asking for any technology transfer, and they are not even asking for financial aid. They are actually just asking for restructuring of the loans. So first option is wrong. To promote multilateral trade agreements and free market economies globally, no, for that they would have separate FTAs. Yes, so this is not the podium. Strengthen global cooperation addressing global challenges such as climate change, inequality, poverty. Yes, correct. Enforce global peace and security through military intervention. The statement itself is wrong, let alone the global south will tell this. If this was done, the zone that will get most affected is the global south. The correct answer is 3 only. All the other options are wrong. Which of the following organizations or framework is most directly associated with the principles of Global Development Compact? UN Sustainable Development Goals, World Trade Organization, International Monetary Fund, G20. Now, when we say they are associated, that doesn't mean that this is a part of it. Just the ideology we are trying to say. Your World Trade Organization, IMF, will not come in because they are the institutions. Understand? So, if you leave those two, UN SDGs, G20. So 1 and 4 are the correct answers. A is the correct answer. Which of the following best describes the role of India in Global Development Compact? India advocates for global partnerships for sustainable development and climate action. India primarily focuses on providing concessional loans to developing countries for infrastructure. India's participation is limited to promotion of free market economies in developing countries. India seeks to limit the role of multilateral institutions in global development. See, just in this itself, you can understand that. Second statement, providing concessional loans, its primary focus, definitely not. We ourselves are a developing nation. So where can we do that? So second option is wrong. India's participation is limited to promotion of free market. No, India will never be associated with this one statement. You can associate with India that it can never do this. It will never limit itself to just free market economies. India seeks to limit the role of multilateral institutions. No, it actually wants many people to be involved to play a better role. So all the three options are wrong. Only the first option is correct. Answer is 1 only. Which of the following challenges is directly addressed by Global Development Compact? Inequality and social justice, global security threats, technological advancements in developing economies, military conflicts and armed interventions. Military conflicts and armed interventions is not a part of your Global Development Compact. Let's assume you don't know what Global Development Compact is. Just look at this. Development of the entire world together. For that, military will never be the answer. Technological advancements in developing economies is one of the factors, but that is not the only factor. Global security threats, again, for the development, yes, you have to have your security, but for development, having global security threats addressed is not the only thing. So this is not a holistic answer option. So correct answer is inequality and social justice. The first option is correct. So answer is 1 only. The Global Development Compact is aligned with which of the following international development frameworks? United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, Paris Agenda on Climate Change, Bretton Woods Institutions Development Strategy, New International Economic Order. Again, when we say Global Development Compact, it is not about institutions, but it is rather about the issues that they are facing in present. That is, your UN 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and Paris Agreement on Climate Change. It's more of like your poverty, inequality, climate change. So only the first two options are correct. 1 and 2 is correct, which means C has been correct. The next topic we'll be discussing is 10 years of India's Act East policy. See, before India's Act East policy, this came around 2014. Before that, 2014, 2015. Before that was your Look East policy. This was about more active engagement with our Southeast Asian and East Asian country neighbors. At the same point of time, we realized that 2014, 2015 period of time there, if to increase our engagement with East Asia and Southeast Asia is because the China factor started to grow as a more of trouble. China started trying to choke India in all possible ways, which is now it is trying to do. But if there has to be a counterweight to China in this particular region, then that has to be by India. And if India deems to do that so, then it cannot do with an isolationist tendency or it cannot do it alone. It has to be united. At the same point of time, China is considered like a global aggressor. Why? Because of its trying to, now you can see the power it tries to exert in your South China Sea, Taiwan Strait. So in these areas, it is very much evident of the aggressions that your China plays. Now when India aligns with your ASEAN or your East Asian member countries, it is a win-win for both India from your trade as well as geopolitical perspectives. Okay, recently our Prime Minister met with Singapore counterpart, wherein to revamp and bring a new fresh impetus to your India and Singapore relations also. So we'll see a list of countries. So if we see India's Act East Asia policy aligns with Japan's free and open Indo-Pacific policy. It aligns with South Korea's new southern policies, and it aligns with ASEAN's outlook on Indo-Pacific policy. This is important, just write it down. Now when we come to your South China Sea, your permanent court had sided with Philippines with regard to South China Sea, which your China completely disregards and claims for your 9-9s, when it claims the entire South China Sea as it belongs to your China. If you see with regard to ASEAN and India, ASEAN is India's fourth largest trading partner, almost 10% of India's total trade, and 50% of India's trade is centered in your Indo-Pacific region. Now if we see with regard to your ASEAN and India, they are part of, that is your East Asian countries and India. They are part of your ASEAN, BIMSTEC, Asia Cooperation Dialogue, Indian Ocean Rim Association, or IORA countries, or littoral countries, or your Indian Ocean region countries. We are also part of your Kalaram multimodal project in IMT, that is India Myanmar Thailand Trilateral Highway. We have Mekong Ganga Economic Corridor. So all of these are our associations with our Southeast Asian neighbors. Let's look at some of the questions. Which of the following are the primary objectives of India's Act East Asia policy? Strengthening economic and strategic ties with ASEAN countries. Promoting India's leadership in the Indian Ocean region. Enhancing cultural and historic linkage with Southeast Asia. Fostering regional security cooperation through military alliances. See, just on top of this, you can know that fourth option. Regional security cooperation through military alliances, no. So fourth option is wrong, which will eliminate C and D. Promoting India's leadership in Indian Ocean region. No, India is not trying to promote its leadership in Indian Ocean region, which makes option 2 wrong. Correct answer is 1 and 3. So B is the correct answer. Which of the following initiatives is associated with Act East Asia policy? Mekong Ganga Cooperation, India ASEAN FTA, Look East policy, Indo-Pacific Economic Framework. See, your Look East policy was a precursor to Act East Asia policy. Indo-Pacific Economic Framework again is not for your ASEAN. So the first two are the correct answer. 1 and 2, Mekong Ganga and India ASEAN FTA. The Act East Asia policy primarily focus on strengthening India's relationship with which of the following region? East Asia, South Asia, Southeast Asia, Central Asia. Correct answer is East Asia and Southeast Asia. So the correct answer is 1 and 3 only. C is the answer. Which of the following countries is not a member of ASEAN grouping but which plays a central role in India's Act East Asia policy? Vietnam, Indonesia, Australia, Philippines. Vietnam, Indonesia, Philippines are all part of your ASEAN. Australia is not a part of ASEAN, but because of its regional proximity and it plays a very important role in your Indo-Pacific and also your Act East Asia. So Australia is the correct answer. Which of the following agreements or platforms are a result of India's enhanced engagement with Southeast Asia under the Act East Asia policy? India ASEAN FTA, Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, India ASEAN Connectivity Summit, Indo-Pacific Economic Cooperation. I told Indo-Pacific Economic Cooperation is not coming over here. RCEP, Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. Yes, it is a crucial part of your Southeast Asian member countries, but India is not very much into it and not very much okay with it because it poses a lot of trade imbalances for India. So thus the correct answer is India ASEAN FTA and India ASEAN Connectivity Summit. The answer is 1 and 0. So it is A. The next topic that we will be discussing under your India and East Asia is your India and Vietnam relations, wherein we have a plan of action which is we have elevated our status to comprehensive strategic partnership. We have done it in 2015 itself. And when we say India Vietnam relationships, 1975 period of time. India and USA where that is your Vietnam and you can tell India and USA also. There was not a very good relationship period for us. Same USA and Vietnam also not a very good relationship phase. So what happened because of the constant wars of your US and Vietnam? When Vietnam got independence, India was one of the very first countries to recognize that. And India was also a major supporter of Vietnam to be freed from France. Since then, India and Vietnam have had good bilateral relationships. As you see, India has extended a line of credit of about 300 million to enhance Vietnam's maritime security. And we have a cultural cooperation of conserving and restoring Mysore World Heritage Site Temple. Okay. On the whole, India-Vietnam relationships have been good, especially on the fact that India has always backed Vietnam. A national maritime heritage complex is signed in Luton, that is to be coming up in Gujarat. So these are explicitly only from a prelims perspective. Okay. Then there was a virtual inauguration of Army Software Park in Vietnam. Vietnam will join the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure. Strictly from a prelims perspective, important to note this stuff. Okay, like we said, India supported for Vietnam's independence in France, and India was criticized. India wasn't happy with the way USA was dealing with Vietnam, and once Vietnam got independence, India was the first country to be recognized. One of the first countries. We have defense dialogues and training exercises, for example, like our bilateral trade between India and Vietnam stood at 14.82 billion, and it is our 23rd largest partner and 5th largest partner among your ASEAN countries. Let's look at some of the possible questions. Which of the following are the key pillars of India-Vietnam relations? Bilateral trade and economic cooperation, defense and security cooperation, cultural and educational exchanges, joint leadership in ASEAN regional forum. All of these are the correct answer. So it is 1, 2, 3. India and Vietnam share a common interest in maritime security in the South China Sea. Which of the following statements is correct regarding their cooperation in this area? India has provided support to Vietnam in developing its maritime defense capabilities. Both countries advocate for freedom of navigation and respect for international law in South China Sea. India has stationed naval ships in South China Sea to protect Vietnamese interests. Vietnam is a partner in India's East Asia policy. Look at this. India has stationed naval ships in South China Sea. That is wrong. India has not did anything. In fact, it respects international law with regard to your South China Sea. So apart from this, rest all are your answers. 1, 3, 4. That is your C is the correct answer. Which of the following initiatives have been undertaken to strengthen India-Vietnam bilateral trade? Enhancement of bilateral trade target to 15 million by 2020. Establishment of Vietnam-India Business Forum. Development of dedicated India-Vietnam Trade Corridor. Promotion of joint ventures in technology, energy and agricultural sectors. So all of them are correct except your India-Vietnam Trade Corridor. It has not yet been materialized or breaking through that. So 1, 2, 4 is the answer. Which of the following sectors have seen enhanced cooperation between India and Vietnam under strategic partnership? Energy, agriculture and food processing, technology and information, tourism and cultural exchanges. All four. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Which of the following events highlight the growing cultural and political ties between India and Vietnam? Visit of Vietnamese leaders, annual cultural exchange program, establishment of Vietnam-India Friendship Association, commemoration of shared historical events such as Vietnam War. See, everything was correct except commemoration of shared historical events such as Vietnam War. No, that is not a part of the answer. So only 1, 2, 3. A is the answer. Next topic we'll be discussing is your India-Myanmar Malaysia relations. India-Malaysia relations. We have a comprehensive strategic partnership. Malaysia has decided to join International Big Cat Alliance. Your international big cats means like your Project Tiger, to commemorate 50 years of Project Tiger coming into picture. Malaysia and India have signed for your Digital Council, that is your digital technology infrastructure, all of this. ASEAN-India Trade in Goods Agreement, wherein Malaysia is also one of the important partners for India, because our Indian diaspora stands with respect to Malaysia in the third place. First is USA, then is UAE, and third will be your Malaysia. Okay. It is the third largest, Malaysia is the third largest trading partner for India among the ASEAN countries. Now, if you have to know, because we speak only from a prelims perspective, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose Indian Cultural Center in Kuala Lumpur to promote the countries which are accepting UPI payments. This was one of the questions. Which of the following are key aspects of India-Malaysia bilateral relations? Trade and economic cooperation, cultural and educational exchange, defense and security, collaboration, peace research, all four. Which of the following sectors have witnessed significant cooperation between India and Malaysia? Palm oil trade and agriculture, energy, information technology, tourism and aviation. All four are the correct answers. Which of the following initiatives are part of India-Malaysia Defence Cooperation? Joint military exercise, defence and strategic dialogue, trade cooperation on forces, naval cooperation, Indian Ocean. All are the correct answers. Which of the following are the primary areas of cooperation between India and Malaysia in the field of energy, oil and gas, renewable energy, nuclear power, hydropower? Apart from nuclear power and hydropower, we have oil and gas, renewable energy cooperation. So answer is 1 and 2. Which of the following is true about Indian diaspora in Malaysia? Indian diaspora is one of the largest ethnic communities. Significant Indian diaspora is involved in plantation sector. Indian community in Malaysia has historical links. Indian diaspora has minimal influence on Malaysian political landscape. All correct except the fourth one. Indian, for example, the Tamils in Malaysia have had significant influence. So apart from fourth. The next topic is India Central and Eastern Europe relations. Now, when we say there is no specific defined example as to these countries only contribute to your Central and Eastern Europe. But one thing that you have to know, again, strictly from prelims perspective, your Central and Eastern Europe is more of this is the region where the goods are transported from India to your Europe market. Another thing is this is the place where your China is trying to dominate at 16+1, trying to make sure it has access to your direct Europe market. And also, your Europe, because of its growing China's aggressive policy, is considered India as a counterweight to your China. This 16+1 is an initiative by China to promote business with your Eastern Europe. That is your 16 countries. That's with 16+1. Strictly in this, you just have to know what 16+1 means. Understanding? India-Poland relationship. Poland, Warsaw. Wherein, with regard to Poland, one important thing you have to see is they are to start with the youth exchange program with India and Poland. Now, this covers one history if you have to know. During the Second World War, okay, the Raja had, Jama Sahib, had held that yes, the Polish children can get refugee here. So that was the backstory of history that yes, they had that youth exchange program. and they were to execute your 5-year action plan. Pretty much normal, but this is what something is supposed to be with exchange program. Your jam center of now. Okay. Next is your India-Ukraine relationship. India-Ukraine relationship before war, that is pre-war, was very much focused on a lot of things. But one important thing was majority of our sunflower oil, which was coming to India, edible oil, was dependent on your Ukraine. But post your war, relationships are a little bit strained with Ukraine. We also see a lot of your Indian students going to study medicine there. That also we can see. But post the war, relationships are a little bit strained, and also the trade has fallen between India and Ukraine. Okay, but India has to play a lot of balancing act here between Russia and Ukraine, and also balancing act between Russia and the West. As of 2022, the trade, bilateral trade stood at 3.38 billion, but now it has dropped significantly. Another topic that will be discussed is about para-diplomacy. So this Ministry of External Affairs has criticized Kerala government of appointing external cooperation official, which means anything to do with India and another country is not under the ambit or jurisdiction of states. It is the exclusive jurisdiction of your center, of your union. When states do things like that, it is like barging on their pockets. If you ask the states, why are you doing this, they will tell it is more about, see, we are no longer very independent. Independence means isolated. So we have a lot of cultural linkages, ties, and our diaspora is in other countries where we can attract investments into our country. And this will be a good way to bring in our cultural ties, diasporan ties, and make betterment for our state. But again, your center is of the view that you do not have the jurisdiction. The Constitution has put the foreign affairs strictly in a concurrent list. It's not there. It is in the union list. Exclusively, it is under the role of your union government. So, what exactly does para-diplomacy mean? Role of subnational entities in shaping international engagement. Understanding? According to the 7th schedule, foreign affairs, all matters which bring union into relationship with any foreign country is listed under item 10 of union list. It is not in concurrent list where even state can step in. It is completely only union list, which means it is the power of your central government. Article 253 has power to make any law for implementing any treaty with any other country. And Article 293, states cannot borrow from outside India. As states borrowing power is specifically limited to within the territory of India. Okay, this is about your para-diplomacy. The last topic that we will be seeing is South China Sea tensions and international trade. Okay, this is the 9-9 that is claimed by China, which claims that the entirety of your South China Sea belongs to China. Whereas a permanent court of arbitration has come towards your Philippines, and Philippines has more advantage here, and it has to recognize its sovereignty, but Philippines is not recognized, and China, as usual, would say aggressor. One thing about your South China Sea is it is becoming the core centrality around your Indo-Pacific. When you say Indo-Pacific now, this is the new region of hotspot, which controls a lot of world trade, and there are a lot of interested parties in that. Okay, look at this. Key players in the South China Sea is China, Taiwan, Vietnam, Philippines, Malaysia, Brunei, and USA. USA, even though it doesn't have any territorial integrity, there is territorial claims on it, yet it becomes, and it is one of the major players who is trying to counter China's influence in the South China Sea area. Understanding this is why it is coming up with your Quad, and all of this, which your China is calling it nothing but an Asian NATO. So these are all the associated issues with regard to your South China Sea. Alright, now we've reached the end of the content. If you like our content, subscribe to our channel, hit the like button and share it around with your friends. Thank you.